All right. Welcome in on the clock, episode number 20. And like I told Nino before the show, we are 1/5 of the way to episode 100, which means we are 1/5 of the way to making it. So we've almost arrived. We're starting to peer at the door so we can reach our dreams and make it in this industry at episode number 100. My guy Nino's with me this evening at Nino Brown _T2T. Nino, what's cooking?
This is a rarity right here. It's just me and you, right? We don't get
Yeah.
to just go on and chop it up. Just me and you. Shout out to Boomer and KT. They couldn't make it. They had they run around crazy. Boomer got baseball. KT's was down doing an interview, I believe in Virginia, right? So shout out to them. Get some rest, fellas. Do your thing. But we're gonna lock this one down. This is gonna be a fun. We'll get to talk about 2024. Everybody's still thinking 2023. We're talking 2024. Try to stay ahead of the game.
But we get to tie in 2023 because we're going to be talking about what could possibly happen during the 2023 NFL season, which makes this a lot of fun. If you're here, chances are you love the NFL draft, especially if you were here in June. But if you're here because you're a fan of the network, we appreciate you for supporting our content. We're going to tie this into what's going to actually happen during the NFL season. So this is going to be enjoyable to you as well. It's going to be good for everybody. But you mentioned Boomer. He's got 2 baseball games. One of the games, 9 p.m. My wife, if one of my kids had a baseball game at 9 p.m. or whatever, would absolutely lose it. Bedtime would be like 11. The whole morning routine would be thrown off.
Yeah.
But my daughter was supposed to have a makeup soccer game today, and it got the air quality. Like,
you're
down.
you're catching the effects from Canada.
Bro, the last 3 days, I don't know what these numbers mean because I've never seen them before in my life. But the air, like what it's like 100. My phone is telling me like
air quality
164 and it's 187. I don't know what those numbers mean, but it keeps getting higher. And so Wednesday, my kids had off, and my son's got both of my kids have a soccer tournament in Hershey in 9 days. Not that we're not counting. But we're trying to get ready for it. So they had an off day, and I took them to the hill. So I showed you some pictures.
Yeah.
So my wife's like, oh, there's something going on with the air, and like I could kind of taste the air. So we ran for like 30 minutes, and then after that, like everything got canceled. Everything got canceled for Thursday, for Friday. So we're being hit. How about you?
No, see, Dino, speaking of which, he said you want it near 100. That's what you want, whatever that number means. So
add that to your title, D-Now. D-Now is the T2T resident,
get
it done, and resident air quality analyst.
See, he texted me this morning. Shout out to my guy. He don't sleep either. He's just like me. It was just like 6:30 in the morning. I got a text. How's the air out there? How you looking? You orange? I says, no, I'm crystal clear.
Why don't you care about my air, D-Now? My air is terrible. The sun looked like a grapefruit.
Well, see, all right. My sun was super orange and red, but the air wasn't. Like I didn't have that orange hue. I didn't get really any hazy. I had a slight haze tonight, right before the sun went down, but I didn't get any orange. It seems like it's channeling in that little Great Lakes little cubby there, and then it's falling into you guys. I'm getting sheltered by everybody.
This is current events with Nino and Coach Shepson, if you're just tuning in. All right, you can find Nino on the Twitter at Nino Brown _T2T. He is the mayor of college football, man. He is the mayor of like all things football. I think eventually you're gonna earn like the full spectrum mayor. I know you college is your thing, right? But like you got your hand in a little bit of everything. So I think you're gonna eventually be the mayor of all things football. You can find me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps. You can find the show at Toilets to Titles. Our other co-hosts who aren't here this evening, Boomer is at Jared Gray and KT is at Leverett _KT. If you're watching on the YouTube, it'd be greatly appreciated. Throw us a subscribe, throw us some likes, throw us some comments. All that helps the algorithm, helps boost us up so we can get out to more ears and more eyes, man. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow something big, and we're constantly moving. Tell everybody about like, I don't want to, we already got on a tangent, so I don't want to get too far off the tangent, but tell everybody about what we got going on in the network, like currently and
down man, right now we got Duvall against we got all these team shows popping off. I know it's new to y'all. To titles is we're bringing all these team shows. So we got Duvall against y'all. We got Ramsaholic, right? So shout out to Zach and Shay. They're both locking them down respectively in that order. We got the Giants corner with Joe
Who
Clark, right?
knows? Yeah.
Joe knows. Joe always knows. Good or
Yeah.
bad, Joe knows. Okay.
No,
My man on the side of me, we call him Mr. Humble Pie over here. He likes to say, I'm the mayor, I do this, I do that. This guy, besides everything he does on the outside with the family and the kids going at 100 sports, he's got on Now About Them Cowboys, right? He's got the Armory on CFB Nation, right? He's got the Titles main show on Tuesday. He's got On the Clock with myself. I mean, most people only got one show. He's got four, and he says, "Hey, it's not about me. I don't." He's the maestro for a reason. He stirs the pot. He makes all the water move in the pot, and then everybody around him. We just come together and we keep the wave going. So we got a lot going on. We got the team shows, like I said. We got my personal favorite coach seems to like it a lot. My Dynasty Diamonds piece that I put out there seems to be growing well.
The world loves it. They've responded quickly. Dynasty Diamonds, it's like somehow you can hit the bell to be notified when we go live on anything on the T2T network. They must have found a separate bell just for Dynasty Diamonds, because commenters came out of the woodwork that I haven't seen in like a year after you started releasing those. So we're happy to have those back.
And don't forget about my guy Chris, right? My guy Chris got together with his partner, right? Prue, which I already love his vibe. And we're bringing you a new gambling show called Playing with House Money. And it's not just football. It's all sports. Right? I believe the guys you're going to want to look out for, a couple soccer guys this week and Ronald Acuna Jr. So check it out. I'll be dropping on Friday at noon, right? So on your lunch break, you want to put a couple bets in for the weekend. These are the guys you're going to want to look at. Like I said, Total Titles on the YouTube, Playing with House Money. Let's go.
That's it. We also got Frankenstein going on. I had somebody reach out to me because it's Scott Fishbowl's kind of popping off. So I'm in a group chat for everybody picking in the 5th selection. And I kind of dropped a little hint because I didn't want to hold the chat hostage about what I got going on. A few people reached out to me. So I got another person coming in. We're giving away 3 free entries to anybody who donates $5 or more to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. It's $25 an entry. And there's so many different ways to win. Like, if you're interested, episode 180, we talked about Frankenstein. Go back, listen to that after you're done with this episode, and then reach out to me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps. And I think that's it for the housekeeping, man. Why don't we get started? Let's peer ahead. Let's peek ahead to the 2023 NFL season. What might happen and how the 2024 NFL draft. We just finished episode 18 and 19 of On the Clock. We finished the first round mock draft 2024. We went picks 1 through 15, 16 through 32. You should go out and check that out so you can see who we'd be taking based upon kind of where the experts believe the teams will finish. But now we're going to talk about where we think they'll finish. All right. So who do you think are the legitimate teams that are in contention for pick number 1?
For pick number 1, for me, legitimate contention, and it's probably the same across the board. Arizona and Tampa Bay, for me, have legitimate shot at pick number 1. I'm not going to say teams like Indy or Atlanta, or even Green Bay, Tennessee. Tennessee's another one right there that could have possible number 1 shot. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I said before, Tannehill, they tried to shop Tannehill maybe a month or so before the draft, right? They fumbled the ball on Malik Willis. They drafted my guy in Will Levis. Is Will Levis ready? I don't know. Everybody wants to call him a bust already or OTAs, but OTAs is what you're supposed to do, and he's not the only guy that's not hitting passes. And of course, they're going to show you the good of the guys that they want to show you and the bad of the guys they want to show you. But Tennessee could be in a fire sale predicament if this season goes bad for them. Okay,
and Vrabel could be out.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Vrabel, Henry, Tannehill. I mean, anybody probably within a year of their contract expiring, they're going to be gone. And now you're looking at a bunch of young guys. Could you have to go back into the pot again for another quarterback for the 3rd straight year? It could look bad. And, with regarding Arizona, I said in my CFB Prime piece, there's a good chance that they do have the first 2 picks, right? And there's a good chance where guys like Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, with all this NIL money that's getting thrown around, say, I'm going back to school, bro. I'm not going to something like that. I want nothing to do with going into having to rebuild or restart and not being good for 2 or 3 years. So Arizona, I think, is in a pickle.
Yeah,
real bad. They're in a bad spot. They're already minus $7 million over the cap, right? So they got -7 to play with. Kyler Murray's contract is $200-something million, $150 million guaranteed. The next closest contract to him, the highest contract after that is Buda Baker at $59 million, and then just trickle down effect. the vets on that team, none of them are signed long term. Hollywood Brown is probably the best guy in the offense, right? And he's only got one more year after this year. And what's to say that he wants to go there? The only reason why he went there was with Kyler. And if Kyler's on the way out, he's probably on the way out. And now you're just looking at Michael Wilson, Rondé Moore, Trey. I don't know, man. That it's Cardinals got themselves in a sticky situation.
Now, if they do land with the first overall pick and Caleb does decide to come out, I can see Hollywood Brown thinking, former Oklahoma guy. Hollywood played it, like maybe he want to stick around to play with that cat.
But if they get the second pick, we all know where they're going after, right?
Right.
So now
and they would get the second pick from the Houston Texans.
Right.
Because they made that move for. So I'm going to name two teams for you.
Okay.
So I'm with you. I think Arizona generally, because it really, one of their problems is I feel like they have too many tweeners.
Yes.
Like they don't really have an identity. Isaiah Simmons, like they never figured out a spot for him. And Kyler Murray, like, who are you? What are you? Like Hollywood Brown, like, are you a legitimate receiver? Are you a gadget guy? Like, there's just,
it's outside of Hollywood Brown, okay?
Right.
Because on a team that doesn't pass the ball in Baltimore, my man still got 1,000 yards.
Right.
Okay. So to me, I thought he was a receiver. I've gone through this in my group chats back home with Shay and stuff. We've gone through it a bunch of times. They don't believe he's a wide receiver one. I think he's a wide receiver one.
Right.
If you can put up 1,000 yards in a system that mostly runs the ball 65% of the time, 70% of the time, you're good for me, right? The problem is if Arizona's coming out and all the things out of Arizona's mouth and moves that they're making, if I'm a player, I'm going, what's going on? You don't know what's going on with Kyler, right? You don't really know what's going on with Colt McCoy. Is he going to be 100%? Are they really going to start the season off with David Blau, right? Do you
even want to start the season out with Colt McCoy? Like at that point, I mean, how old is Colt McCoy?
35.
And I don't know, man.
No, I'm with you. But then now let's go. Your studs, Buda Baker, requests a trade, wants out, right? Boom. You say that you're not picking up Isaiah Simmons' 50-year option. He's probably your best linebacker.
Right. And look at Reddick. Reddick was drafted by the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
And he was kind of a tweener.
They gave up on,
and then he found his way after leaving Arizona. And if Isaiah Simmons does the same thing, that's going to be a slap in the face if he leaves town and then he figures it out.
Now, are they going to get hit with some kind of tampering penalty too? I'm hearing about the Gannon, like the whole Gannon thing. So there's a possibility there was some kind of tampering going on with them and Philly. So just bad news coming out of there.
And then with Tennessee, if they pick first overall, which is highly possible, and if they move on from Mike Vrabel, I'll feel like when the Eagles moved on from Doug Peterson, I didn't think Doug Peterson was a bad coach. I don't think Mike Vrabel's a bad coach. I don't think he's the one. Bill Parcells used to say, if I'm going to cook the dinner, let me buy the groceries. So I don't know if Mike Vrabel, if he's responsible for building the roster, all right, then maybe he's got to go. But I think that team overachieved so many times underneath Mike Vrabel that I don't know. You got to give him a shot with some legitimate weapons. Go ahead.
I got two things I want to say about
this.
Okay. A lot of people like Tannehill. I was never a Tannehill guy.
Right.
He's that cool toy for the season, but when crunch time comes, cookie crumbles, no good. Okay. But that was Vrabel's dude. He went and got him. That was the guy he wanted.
But knowing he had Derrick Henry.
Okay. But
maybe he thought Ryan Tannehill can get me there. And then in the playoffs, Derrick Henry can get me through.
But he never got anything to take away the load from Derrick Henry. Every guy that he brought in the draft never panned out, right, to fill the role. Tajay could.
AJ Brown.
Wait. Oh, don't let me get to that point because I'm ready for that one.
Right.
Now the rumor is that they're the first team off the block that's going to bring in D-Hop.
Right.
You know what that screams to me?
Desperation.
That's admittal. No. That's admittal that you dropped the ball and shouldn't have traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks because Treylon Burks isn't A.J. Brown.
Not at all.
Because D-Hop already said he's not taking a pay cut.
Right.
So you're paying him what he wants. Paying him what he wants would have been paying A.J. Brown a Pro Bowler, a dog, a top 5 wide receiver, a proven guy, right? And now you're going to get an aging vet. If that happens, he's pretty much signing his papers like, okay, I know I'm out. I'm going to go out and try to make the best of it. But I think that situation is real ugly too.
A.J. Brown, like he could sell jerseys too. Like, what are you doing? Like he's everything you want in an organization he was.
You should have brought a slot guy in. You needed a slot guy. But you don't want to pay people. But look where you are now. We're not paying people.
Right.
The problem was you could hit the injury bug on both sides of the ball last year. All your defensive studs went down except for Simmons, right? Landry went down early. You had to play Monty Rice. You lost a lot of dudes. They brought in Azia Ashia, whatever his name is, this guy from San Francisco. I always
Aziz Ashia, the linebacker.
Yeah. He's probably going to stop because David Long is now in Miami.
Right.
But they got hit bad and they had no depth, right? They ended up going to the tight end. Okunawa was a dude at the end because they had nothing else. I think he's going to be a dude this year going forward, whatever quarterback it may be. But there's so many holes there. I just don't know.
Right.
I don't know if QB would be the option for them.
Right. All right. So I have two teams. Would you be shocked if the Saints or the Patriots picked first overall?
Yeah.
For both of them?
Yeah.
Man, I think one of them might pick top 10.
But
I don't know which.
Top 10's fine. Top 10's fine. But you said one.
Right. But top 10, what's the difference in so to pick top 10, you probably have 6 wins?
Yeah. Or less.
6 or 7, yeah. So to pick one, you probably have 1 or 2 wins. So it's a 4-game difference. So, I mean, I guess that's a quarter of the season, but I don't know, man. If it don't work out with Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara is getting old. Who knows what they got Jamal Williams. They got Kendry Miller. Chris Olave is a dude, but Cameron Jordan's getting old. Tyrann Mathieu's getting old. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints.
I look at those top 3 teams right now, like those teams we just mentioned in Arizona,
right?
Tampa Bay.
There's always a team that surprises, though.
Right, that's fine. I'm just saying those 3 teams, right? You compare let's go their top 5 guys all around compared to and I'm not. I'm very down the middle when it comes to the Patriots.
Right.
I'm probably more so against than with.
Right.
You put that roster, top 5 against the top 5 of the other ones, and top 5 of New Orleans. I think the Patriots and New Orleans have a better top 5 than those 3 teams alone.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And the coaching.
That's with Belichick. I don't know if they'll ever pick. All right. So this brings us to the next segment. Which teams do you think need to be like? They will be doing themselves a disservice by winning games and not picking in the top 5. So we mentioned teams that we don't even have to worry about it because they're not going to win games. But what are some teams that you think man, they should kind of just let it go and pick high next year?
Oh, just let it go and not.
Well, you know what I mean. No one's going to do that. But I'm just saying, which teams are going to be doing themselves a disservice by winning games next year?
See,
Falcons? Are you go ahead.
No, I understand. I figure the first 2 teams out of your mouth outside of the ones we mentioned are going to be Washington and Atlanta, right? Because I think people have a lot of questions there. But in the green room, I mentioned a little bit to you, I'm in on Sam Howell. Okay, he had a bad senior year at UNC, but he had 90 touchdowns, something stupid in his 4 years at UNC, right?
I'm not that low on Washington either. So I'm not all in on Howell, but I like their defense. I like their running game. I like their receiving options. So I don't think they're in contention to I don't think they're on the fence. I think they're on the other side,
Well, most people are going to say they've gone through a quarterback every year.
And Sam Howell beat the Cowboys last year, so.
Dude, he looked good in his time. That first year, the game he threw a touchdown to Terry McLaurin, right? In the 4th quarter, I think that was a touchdown to beat you guys, to be honest with you. But he looks good. He played well. I don't trust Ron Rivera. I think the first man out over there is Ron Rivera. If they go sideways and don't play well this year, I think he's the first guy going. Does that mean that Sam Howell's gone too? Probably, because new regime, I want my guy. Especially if they're going down, they're probably going to have a high pick. I think they're going to get at least 8 wins. I think they're going to be a good team. They have talent on offense. I don't know what they're going to do with Chase Young, but there's always a sucker in the NFL. Okay. And if Chase Young isn't going to be the Chase Young that we had coming in or the first 2 years in the NFL, someone will still trade for that with the hopes that the potential is there. Right?
I would. Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if it's there anymore. Right?
I'm a sucker.
I don't know if Montez Sweat's going to be there all season as well. But I'll tell you one thing. That secondary is young and it's talented, right?
And the interior defensive line, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, like that's
the inside's good. The outside is where the
yeah,
question marks is, right? Sweat was a guy, can't stay really healthy. I don't know if he's still their guy, right? So I think there would, if Sam Howell is better than decent this year and they win 7-8, I don't think they're going to be in that contention for that top spot. I don't think that they would trade up. So if they're somewhat okay to start, just ride it out, bro. Don't throw in, don't throw, you know what I mean? Like, don't just throw it or don't just try to lose it. I think if you got okay, I think Sam Howell can guide them this first year and then, do what you got to do to make it better. But I think you got to make it better with a coach.
I'm going to tie this into, I'm going to go back to this segment, but I'm going to tie it into our next segment where we're going to talk about some ideal landing spots. And I feel like Brock Bowers to Washington is an ideal landing spot with Logan Thomas getting up there in age.
Yeah.
I think if Howell's the guy, they got Dotson, they got McLaurin, they got Brian Robinson. I think he would fit because I don't think they need to put a draft pick into the defense early next year. I think it'd be an excellent fit for Washington.
I'm with that, but I've been hearing this a lot lately. It's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. And you started out the conversation with them and didn't mention the other guy. Did Antonio Gibson die?
Well, Antonio Gibson, I just think he's not going to be in their long-term plans. It doesn't seem like they're invested. I think he's a good back, but I don't think they're invested in him.
I understand Brian Robinson got shot last year and got nearly 900 something yards after missing a few games. Okay. But I don't think that Brian Robinson is as good as an all-purpose back as Antonio Gibson is. Now, granted, I don't think Antonio Gibson was the best back coming out of Memphis either.
Right.
Okay. Because I've been a Gainwell guy.
Right.
But what he offers in that offense as a pass catcher, right? He's a dude, man.
But why, so my affinity for fantasy football. I was on him early because he just seems like the ideal PPR back. So I think a lot of, me included, with the community have been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think the talent's there, like you're saying. But why are they not featuring him?
Well, when Ron Rivera comes out and tells the whole nation that he's going to use these two running backs like he used D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart and then doesn't do it, that's on Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
This is Mitch's coaching, in my opinion. Because if this guy went to San Diego, right, or LA, I'm sorry, went to LA, right?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, he would be like, they would use him like Austin Eckler. This dude would be top 5 running back. He would be. Right. I'm telling you, Washington under Snyder has been a mess for a long time. Okay. Right. I don't know that he's giving the keys and letting these guys drive or giving the cart to get the groceries. You know what I'm saying? I feel he's got his hand in a lot of it, and he's been terrible. His decision making is terrible. So I don't know. I just think Gibson. I think he's a better back than Brian Robinson in my eyes.
Right. I think it's worthy of a fair split, and I don't think he's getting a fair split. I think he gets a few games a year where he gets a decent amount of touches, and then they just let him go because they also got Curtis Samuel as well. Right. Which eats into some of the things he does, which is bizarre. But all right, so moving on from Washington, what about Atlanta? You're in on Ritter. Like, I feel like the top quarterback with the weapons that, we kind of talked about this before the show. I think Pitts, London, Bijan should do a decent enough job to make an average, at least an average quarterback look decent. So think there's a chance we get tricked this year. It's possible we get tricked. It's possible given the talent around him. And it's possible that the Atlanta Falcons get tricked. And they might see Ritter succeeding with these weapons and think this is our future when maybe there's something out there that could look even better in that offense.
Okay. I understand the whole trickery, and it's cool. Because it works, right? But the trickery never lasts a full season. Look at Zach Wilson, right? He only tricked people for so long. It was like 7-8 games, and then the trickery started to die. And we got the real ordeal. And what did they do? They went out and got an literally aging Aaron Rodgers to try to keep them relevant. If the trickery is going to happen, right? it's going to happen early, and then it's going to fizzle. You're going to see he's not going to be able to maintain. As good as the talent is around him, I don't think he's going to be able to maintain that. People, once there's film on him, the defenses are going to figure him out and figure out that it's not him that's getting the plays made. He's not throwing the guys open. They're making up for his flaws, right? And these guys always get smoked by the end of the season. There's never I can't remember one guy that's been able to pull off, the trickery show for the whole full season.
Did Matt Flynn? Was that?
No. That was 3 games, and that was a desperate Seattle team.
Right. Well, when he was with Green Bay.
Right, but Seattle was desperate, and they never played. They drafted Russell Wilson, and the cream rose to the top in camp.
Right.
So,
my
thing is, Kyle Pitts, there was only 31% catchable balls thrown to him last year.
Yeah.
But if we dove in and broke that down, I think majority of that was I was cashed out game 1 Marcus Mariota. Okay, because he got injured, right, and he wasn't a factor for a few games there. Drake London seemed to do okay down the stretch the last couple of games with Ritter. So, I don't know. I'm not all in on Ritter, and I'm not all out. Caleb Williams is better. Yes. Drake May is better. Yes. Bo Nix is better. Yes. But at what point do they have to get up there, right? So, if they only won 6 games, would that put them at, 4?
I don't know. 6 games. I feel like 6 games is probably somewhere between 8 and 12. You know?
I think Atlanta can get 5 or 6 games.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Who do you think's more likely to fail? Jordan Love or Desmond Ridder?
Jordan Love.
Due to talent or due to situation?
Both.
I'm excited. Let's throw Trey Lance in there too.
He's at the bottom for me.
I love, dude. I'm drinking. I'm gonna carry the flag for Trey Lance, man.
I just think listen, what they've done to him, it's probably one of the most mismanaged, right next to the Patriots, the most mismanaged rookie quarterback situations I've ever
think
witnessed.
About the talent, if he gets an opportunity, if he stays healthy, and if his head's on straight. So there's the 3 big ifs. You got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got McCaffrey.
That's if Brock Purdy doesn't come in at 100%. Because if he comes in at 100%, he's QB2, Trey Lance. And everybody knows that.
I don't know, man.
Every receiver on that team, everybody knows that.
Do you think? What makes you think every receiver knows that? They barely played with Trey.
Brock Purdy won them games.
Yeah, but
by not making mistakes, by having the balls that hung down to the blades of grass when it came. He had one of the most remarkable rookie seasons
He knocked my Cowboys out too.
Listen, Lance, the way it's all going, the mismanagement, it's terrible. His confidence has to be in the pooper, right? I know Mr. Irrelevant doesn't mean crap to me, the title. You get drafted to the NFL, you get drafted to the NFL. We've seen UDFAs go and have success. So that doesn't mean crap, the title.
Right.
But the kid showed you he can do it. He showed you he can do it when he wasn't comfortable. And then when he got in the groove and started chucking the ball around, he looked pretty good, right?
Right.
So, won a playoff game. So, he almost made it to the show. If that kid,
but we also our running back broke his leg in that game, which kind of sucked and completely.
It's the way it works.
Yeah. Coach. All right, let's talk about some ideal landing spots. Before we talk about ideal landing spots, if you want to support the show, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/toilets to titles. We have 5 or 6 tiers. Tier 1 is $1.50, get you guaranteed entry into Frankenstein, gets you into our gilded chat where we're going to have exclusive content. And also, if you DM me after you sign up for Patreon, you send me your address, I'm going to send you a lanyard, and I'm also going to send you a playing card from Frankenstein. And those playing cards are pretty sweet. They're pretty spiffy. So I will send all that to you. And if you want to support us greater than $1.50 a month, there's other options for you with tons of other stuff like in-season waiver wire episodes. We'll give you draft advice. We'll help you draft. We'll give you DFS advice. We got all sorts of stuff. But join the title tribe. Come in the community. Get in the gilded chat. Reach out to me at Coach Sheps or Nino at Nino Brown _T2T. So let's talk about some of your favorite players in this class, right? So we kind of talked about Caleb Williams. I think that's probably the consensus top player, generally. So this is like low hanging fruit. So quickly, Caleb Williams, where do you want to see him?
Not in Arizona. Not in Arizona.
Right. So that's not an ideal fit. That's ideal for Arizona.
Tampa Bay.
Okay,
I
with
think
Godwin and Evans. I think Evans is on the way out. I think Evans
is probably on his way out. Godwin, from what I'm hearing and seeing, I know it's OTAs are running with no pads and whatever, I mean, just helmets. But what I'm seeing, he's got his juice back. He looks good, right? He's 26 years old, so he's got at least another 6 years in the league of being dominant, right? And if he's back to what Godwin was before the injury, there's a nice number one. They got Palmer over there. They got Raheem Jarrett over there, right? They got Kate Otten as tight end. We all know tight ends take 2 to 3 years to develop. It's not just jump in the saddle and go. So they have weapons. That offensive line, they rebuilt that. That defense is youthful. The D-line is good. So, like, Caleb going there, they can use the other pieces to get another receiver. Obviously, it doesn't have to be Marvin Harrison Jr., but it can be, this class coming out has got dogs. So they can get another receiver there. There's probably going to be some guys in free agency. They can look. When you bring in Caleb Williams, these veterans, right, that are expiring contracts, or these guys who didn't get that 5th-year option weren't eligible for that in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, they're looking like, oh, I can play with this guy, or I can go play with the 2-time possible Heisman winning trophy winner, Caleb Williams.
Right.
Yeah, I'll go take that run. And I go to Florida and get no tax on my contract and all my signing bonuses and play with Caleb.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take that. But for me, I got 2 guys. They happen to be in the same school. It's just crazy at Alabama.
Right. Let me just tell you where. So I would like to see him. I brought up New Orleans earlier. I think New Orleans with Chris Olave.
How would they do that? They paid Carr how much money, right? How much is that guaranteed?
This is ideal. I just think I'd like to see him, in a controlled environment like New Orleans, and that division's winnable with a young stud receiver and Chris Olave. So I think that's one of my ideal landing spots.
Oh, then stay home. Stay home and go to LA. That's what I said before. Stay home and go to LA Rams. The Rams package up picks. Package up a veteran.
Not bad. That's not bad either. I was also thinking
Stetson was a 6th rounder, so it's no guarantee anything.
Right. Or even, Minnesota. I don't know how they'd get up there. That'd be Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson.
Made a good point. Justin Jefferson is not re-signing without a good quarterback.
Right. And that's I feel like Minnesota Vikings, probably the least likely of the teams we mentioned.
Right.
But, great landing spot. But go on to the 2 Alabama players.
So I mentioned LA, and I'm going to mention this gentleman who's probably would be a great replacement for whatever's left in Aaron Donald's career. That's Dallas Turner from Alabama. Okay. He's going to, from what I see, Shane and Brian said this is the guy. I wasn't too convinced because I thought, nobody could live up to Will Anderson's hype. You watch this guy's film, man, the explosiveness there, treating people like he's a grown man and they're children. He does that, right? He can dip the shoulder and get around the edge. What a guy with a huge motor, a guy who's, physique is just so ripped and strong, just like, Aaron Donald is. What a guy to come in and just, if Donald says, maybe I got 1 more year left, you groom this kid for 1 year on the other side of him, right? And then he just replaces Donald. I'm not saying he's going to place him right off the rip as step for step, fill the shoes, but what a dog to just come in. You're not really losing any speed there. You're kind of just keeping it going.
Right. I like that. You got another one?
Kool-Aid, man.
Where?
Indy.
Okay.
You got your QB of the future, right? That's your guy. You locked. You believe in him. You got Pittman Jr. You got Josh Downs. You have 3 tight ends. One of them is like 9 feet tall. Jelani Woods, right? Isn't he? He's like 6'7" something.
Basketball guy.
Yeah. So you got JT. You got Evan Hall. Like, your offense is good, right? Question marks are at the linebacker, right? But you brought in Gilmore. You let him go, right? You need a guy. You need someone in that secondary that can just say, put him on an island. I don't have to worry about who he's covering. I don't even care if it's Marvin Harrison Jr. on that side of the field. I don't care if it's Jamar Chase. Kool-Aid's locking these dudes down. I'm not saying he's going to keep them to no catches, but Kool-Aid is going to be your best option when it comes to these elite wide receivers in the NFL. As a rookie, Kool-Aid changes the game for Indy. You can do different things. You can spend money other ways when you can have one guy just eliminate one side of the field. So I would love to see Kool-Aid go to Indy. I'm not an Indy guy, but I think it's a good opportunity for him to just go in there and roll. It would have like a Sauce Gardner effect in New York.
I would love one of my ideal landing spots. Jared took this guy from me in our mock draft. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. out of Clemson. I'd love to see him in Dallas. I would love, because I think Leighton Vander Esch, 1-year deal. He's going to be out of town after this year. Supposedly, Jabril Cox is looking healthy. He made a few plays like breaking on the foot. What Dallas loved Jabril Cox coming out of school. He's a nickel. He's an ideal nickel linebacker. He's a good coverage guy. But after he got hurt, he lost that step. So the opportunities for him to be on the field last year in nickel, he didn't get because he lost a step. But now it looks like he's starting to make a break on the football. He's looking decent there. We got Damone Clark, who should be the middle linebacker. I would love to put Jeremiah Trotter next to Damone Clark in that defense. That guy, like we said it on the episode, he's a better linebacker than Trenton Simpson.
Yeah.
And Trenton Simpson was your top linebacker. I think my number 2 linebacker. So this guy, ideal. I don't know if he makes it out of the top 20 though.
No. I think he's going to be top. I think he could possibly be top 10, to be totally honest with you.
Right.
And here's my thing is if Indy doesn't go DB, I think they go that way because there's so much question. Like Zaire Franklin had a great year last year, but he's older. Okay. He's been in the league 5-6 years before he blew up. We don't know what's going on with Shaq Leonard. Okay. That back injury, then a neck injury, then a leg injury. Like there's too many injuries. And you're a middle linebacker that goes downhill quickly with a neck injury. I'm out. Right? Like, I'm good. But there's teams that have been searching for a leader at the middle linebacker position that would give up the farm for potential. Just like I said with Chase Young. Teams are still living in the past. Oh, he showed it to me. We would be great if he only gave us 80% of it, right? So they could reap the benefits there. But if they don't go Kool-Aid, I think they go to linebacker because they need it. They show that whole thing up right there. There's your leader, your green dot. But he's a dude. But I'd love him for you guys. Like, you don't have to worry about Van Der Esch. You don't have to worry about nothing after that.
Right. We could solidify him, just add another dude
to
that defense. So what about your boy Rocket Sanders? Where would you like to see him land? I think I don't know if Dobbins doesn't, if this is his year in Baltimore, Dobbins doesn't secure the bag, can't stay healthy, can't be an every down back. Baltimore was at its best under Harbaugh. When they had a back, they never had to take off the field. And I think big, physical, played in the SEC, a lot of big touches, the breakaway potential. I'd like to see him in Baltimore.
I'm a Dobbins guy.
Okay.
So I think he's back. And we saw him flash it for the final 5 games last year. I'm going to tell you something right now. I watched a lot of Georgia football last year. Todd Monken is going to get the absolute best out of J.K. Dobbins as long as that man is 100% healthy. You're about to see a master. It's about to crash.
But do you think they are going to get the most they can get out of him with a plan to use him up and chip him out, like let him go? Or you think they're going to be a little bit cautious because they think he'll be the future for the future?
They brought in a guy, in the fifth round?
Who?
Miller, Kendry Miller, right? TCU.
No, Miller went to New Orleans.
Oh, so it's the other.
And Evans went to the Rams.
Keon Mitchell.
Okay.
ECU. I'm sorry. Okay. ECU. In the 5th or 6th round. Like once it got past the 3rd round, J.K. Dobbins was a winner in that draft.
He's only 24.
Yeah. So I'm in on Dobbins, right? Give me Rocket Raheem in Carolina.
Okay.
You put Bryce Young in a position to not have to carry the load. You already have Miles Sanders locked up for another year. It's your perfect 1-2 combo. Lightning and Thunder. I'm not saying Miles Sanders is super fast. Miles Sanders is great out the backfield catching, right? He's great at like just sneaky runs, screens. He's good at that. You sub that with Rocket Sanders banging them, right? And just pounding it inside the hash marks. There's a backfield. I would love him to go there. I would love him to be a complimentary piece or how it may be in Tampa with Rachaad White. You put them two together, bro. It don't matter who if you somehow can't get Caleb, right? It doesn't matter which one of the next. Like if you got Bo and Rocket Sanders, oh my! Like you're just setting yourself up for years to come.
Is that where you want Bo?
No, I want Bo in Seattle. Stay home, bro.
Yeah.
They just served you up JSN. You got DK for a couple more years. Lockett's probably gone end of this year.
You got horses in the stable.
Yeah, yeah, three running backs.
Come
three
on.
running backs. And
Yeah.
McIntosh is there.
Right.
Wait,
We
wait a minute.
never talked about
Oregon does that, right? Bucky Irvin and Whittingham, they do that.
I just want a humble flex. I don't know if this is flex worthy, but we never talked about being at the Senior Bowl and watching McIntosh get reamed out by his agent.
Yeah.
Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
Like we were right there. Like we don't know what happened. No one talked about it, but dude just kind of grabbed him by the horse collar and carried him off the field.
We don't talk to people like that. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So I wonder, yeah, we're there. We were in there. We were right next to Drew Rosenhaus, like watching him. But anyway, go. So you want Knicks in Seattle? All right, let's. I
got one for you that you probably weren't expecting me to come with. It's my Patriots.
Go ahead.
I don't know how long Judon's gonna be there.
Okay.
Judon, I love him to death, and I want to shout out my guy Macy. Sent me a signed Matt Judon jersey for my birthday. Kudos to him. I think it's fresh. It's all white with the blue and the red stripe on the top. Fire. But I don't know how long he's going to be there, okay? And I don't know how long he can stay healthy. Bonmore's on the interior, defensive line. He's a dude, all right? They let that guy go. I'll be pissed because he's the best thing in the interior defensive line we had since Vince Wilfork. So please, keep my guy. Give me the dude with all the motor. Give me the dude with the big swim arm. Give me JT Tuamaloala, whatever his name is, that gentleman, because that guy fits in the Patriots. I feel like to write out Belichick if he's going to stay. If it's not Belichick, and it's going to be my guy, not Steve, my guy, the linebacker there. I'm drawing a blank to his name right now. Gerard Mayo.
Okay.
Thank you. Let him be the coach. He's defensive minded. That guy runs right up his alley.
Who did you just think?
No, I looked at my wall. It's on my wall. The jersey's on the wall. I had to look real quick.
Who whispered it? Somebody. Now we know where Nino gets all his data from. There's somebody who sits in his room and whispers. So go ahead.
I had to make sure I'm looking where the jersey was. I'm like, there it is. He was my favorite since Chris Slade.
Out of Tennessee, right?
Oh yeah. Mayo was a guy. That's why I like Banks. I think Jeremy Banks has got a lot of Gerard Mayo in him. But if you got the right situation, he would excel. But yeah, I like JT Tuamalo. I think he would be great fit for the Patriots. Patriots are always going for. It's usually they start out with line. This year was off chalk, but I'm cool with Gonzo. So
right. Oh man, and that he fell into their lap. All right. So I think we're gonna have tons of more time to talk about these draft prospects. So today we were kind of just, dreaming about some scenarios, thinking about how the NFL sees. Oh, you got one more for me?
I got something for you. I gotta go off. I gotta go out of the box for you. I gotta keep you on your toes, right?
Keep me on my toes. I'm ready.
So give me a team middle of the pack that needs to just stay in the middle of the pack, and they're gonna have a guy fall then.
Man, so this will be a team that needs a lineman.
Okay.
Likely. Man, Pittsburgh. They're close. What's up with Kenny Pickett? We like George Pickens. Maybe Deontay Johnson's gone, so they might need one of those wide receivers like Igbuka, Xavier Worthy. Like Worthy would be a great compliment to a guy like Deontay Johnson. I know they're rebuilding that offensive line. They brought in Joey Porter Jr. So they essentially got 2 first-round picks. So Pittsburgh would be a team, I think, middle of the pack. Maybe the Los Angeles Chargers. I think they got the quarterback, but that offensive line, they could use. I know they got I can't think of his name. The guy who was before Skoronski, who was balling at Northwestern, who's doing great out there at left tackle. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they could use a high-end offensive lineman. The Jaguars are close, but so if one, I think they could probably afford to pick somewhere between 50 and 20, because I think they're good. So the Jaguars might be I would say Jaguars or Pittsburgh, because I think both of them are good, but I don't think either of them are great yet. And they both have young quarterbacks that could use some more premier talent around them. So I think it'd be in their best interest to not pick 22 to 32. I think, picking somewhere between 14 to, and for the Steelers, I think it would be to get an elite, you're letting Deontay Johnson walk, but get a guy who can.
That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
They've always done that for the last 10 years,
But
right?
they don't need. But then like they also don't even need to take a wide receiver in the first round
But
because
this
they
was,
find guys. You
yeah.
know, like so who would? I don't
I'm
know.
gonna go with Minnesota staying where they are. Minnesota
Okay.
can stay in between 14 and 20,
Right.
and have a guy like Kyle McCord or Quinn Ewers just fall to
Right.
them,
Right.
right? Or Michael Penix Jr. fall right in their
What about
lap.
the Dolphins? Like, if Tua goes down and
So that was my sneaky guy.
Yeah.
They could be the one to sell the farm
Right.
to get to one.
I mean, but what did they give up for Ramsey? I can't remember.
But they could give up Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, you think a team that has the first pick would be willing to take on Tyreek Hill?
What does Arizona got if they don't get the first pick and they can't? You know what I'm saying? Like they have nothing, especially if Hollywood's not going to re-sign.
Right.
You lost D-Hop, bringing Tyreek Hill for 3-4 years. He's only 29, right? He's still fast. One of the fastest wide receivers in the league.
If Tua goes down, I know this is. I've been putting a little earworm in your ear about Mike White.
Hot Mike White.
But if that doesn't work out, they looked awful.
They called Tennessee. Yo, Tannehill.
Back. But
yeah.
if they don't, I'm saying, so if they have to rely on Mike White, we saw how bad they looked. That offense could not move last year. They could be a 6-win team without Tua.
And everybody's counting my Patriots out, but I'm not sold in on the Dolphins because of Tua's health. And I'm not knocking George.
But are you happy with where the Patriots are?
No.
Right.
No. Dude, that quarterback situation was screwed up from the get-go, whether it was Zappy or Mac Jones. Like, there's an internal problem. Belichick and Kraft are not seeing eye to eye. Okay?
Right.
One wants to win, one wants to wreck it and wants to win, but he wants to do it his way. His way hasn't been working. Right. Part of his way was Brady, and it's not there no more. Right. Part of it, I'm saying, not all of it. Right?
We heard it.
Whatever your ego that you have is going on, you don't want to take out of your salary to give these guys titles as coaches.
Right.
You had to go back to the well and you had to go get Bill O'Brien, right? You had no choice. Can that fix things? Probably. Enough to fix things with everything that went around in your division? Probably not. But I'm not sold in on Aaron Rodgers buying in. I'm not even sold in Aaron Rodgers playing the whole year. Because if they start out 1-6, this dude's cashed.
Right.
He's cashed out.
Right.
If Tua's muscle milk don't keep up and keep that extra weight on him, and he gets, God forbid,
his whole body. I watched his legs. He's got
from here to here, bro.
He's got cankles,
bro. I don't know what's up. That doesn't look like a guy that's ready to run an offense that's built on speed,
dude. He looks like. And he don't look
swollen. No, he looks swole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not Team Swelly. No. He's just swollen.
Yeah.
Muscle milk, bro. You got to actually exercise when you're taking protein. You can't just suck them down. But maybe that's for extra cushion on the neck piece.
I don't know.
But hey, the Patriots could sneak into second place in that division by default.
But you don't want them to.
No, I don't. But I also don't want them to be top 5.
Because if they do that and there's still issues, it's going to give them a reason to stick around with Bill, stick around with Mac. Something's working. I feel like this year you need to know, is Mac Jones the guy? Like, you need to find out.
They need to go get D-Hop. This is the only way you're going to know if he's the guy.
All right. Look what they did. Look what the Giants did. I mean, I guess they didn't. They bring in Darren Waller. Like, they tried with Kenny Galladay, but it didn't work out. But
the Giants did it the right way this year, right? They found success with Daniel Jones. Well, because the coaches had his coach coming from the Belichick tree, had his head up his keister. Right? He was terrible, right? He came back to be something he wasn't. He still stunk. But they did it right. They went out and got him. I'm not a fan of Waller at this point in his career, but they went and got him a big target at tight end, a safety blanket who's got great hands. Cool. With it.
Right.
You help him better from him. It sucks because you went out and got Daniel
Hyatt,
You got Hyatt, came in. Slayton's back healthy. That's Daniel Jones' guy, right? So they went and got pieces to make him better. You tag Saquon, but everybody forgets Saquon nor Josh Jacobs to sign this free agent, the tag. That doesn't guarantee them to play this year at all.
Right.
It's not guaranteed, and they could go sideways. So Eric Gray, Zamir White, people go save them on your benches.
Dude,
because
I live in New York and people are talking themselves into loving Eric Gray. Like, I think the Giants fans all kind of in the back of their mind know he's the future, because Saquon is like a flickering light. Like, it's going to burn out in New York eventually. They don't know how much longer that light's going to last for. But hey, let's wrap this thing up. we're gonna pick this thing back up next week. We have a few good things planned for the next few weeks, so we can continue similar discussion next week. We'll talk, or we might dive into breaking down a mock draft, or for sure, we got this coming up. We're going to start giving you, because we go to the Senior Bowl. That's what we do now. We're going to start giving you, what's up, Uncle Stevie? Uncle Steve's the guy who knocked me out of Frankenstein last year. So, yeah, he had to come in to rub it in my face. But so we go to the Senior Bowl. It's the thing we do here. We're going to start giving you a wish list of players that we want to see down in Mobile. So that's coming up over the next few weeks. We got tons of other content. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to get into the Frankenstein Listener League, reach out to me at Coach Sheps on the Twitter, at Toilets Titles, or at Nino Brown _T2T. Check out the CFB Nation. They have tons of college football content. And guess what? The college football season is closer than the NFL season. So a lot of you, the light at the end of the tunnel is a little bit closer. So, Nino, before we wrap this up, let everybody know kind of where they can find all your content and what you got coming up down the pipe.
At Nino Brown _T2T on the Angry Blue Bird, as Coach said. You can find me at CFB Nation Monday and Tuesdays. I got CFB Prime. That's at 8:00 at night. I'm coming in, taking on all the hot topics. And if you don't know about the topic, I'm diving deep to bring it up there so we can talk about it. We got the Hawks Nest. We got Sooner Shakedown on CFB. We got the Omri hosted by my man Coach. So you can check that out. He's doing great things there. And then we got P2P on Friday. But on this network, the T2T network, where it all began, Dynasty Diamonds, we got On the Clock, right? We got the main show. We got Head to Head. That's the IDP podcast, which has been growing in the community. Shout out to everybody that showed us love. We got few more things coming in the works that we're gonna. I put a little bug in Coach's ear. I think you're going to see something new on Tuesday in the show. I think you guys are going to enjoy it because my man is the maestro and he does his thing. So we appreciate everybody just supporting us, whether it be the smallest newest guy on the map or new to the social media, new to Twitter, to guys out there like John Lobb, Shane Alam, Brian Bosage. We just had a big gentleman on the Die Hard Football. What's his name? Bob Harris gave us a shout out.
Yeah.
Correct, right?
Dude, that was awesome for the Frankenstein League. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Froton, I got Eric Froton shouting out titles in CFB Nation. Kevin Coleman from The Boys saying that CFB Nation is severely underappreciated, underfollowed. So we appreciate all the love. We appreciate everything, everybody just showing us support, and we're just gonna grind it out and give you the best we can give you.
And that tells you we are trending upward. Right. And we all, you started doing this a year ago. I started doing this 3 years ago. We're kind of all fairly new to this thing still. You too could be new to this. If you're passionate enough about the NFL draft that you're tuning in June, watching us talk about draft prospects, you're probably just as sick as us. If you ever thought about doing something like this, reach out to me on Twitter at Coach Sheps. Toilets and Titles Network, we can use you. If you're interested, if you're passionate, we could find a way to channel that passion and make it work. Maybe get you doing some content, get you doing some writing, get you doing some podcasts and other stuff. We got tons of stuff going on here. So jump
that
on,
brain.
Man.
Pick that brain, get that the wheel and the mouse and the cheese going. We love to do it. But again, before we close it out, Coach, tomorrow's premiere, Playing with House Money at noon Eastern. Lock it in, hit the bell, subscribe. You don't want to miss this one.